All right, and we are live. Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Nicholas Downey from the Gaming Perspective Podcast. Welcome to episode 40. Sekiro, I died more than twice. I don't know. I'm trying to come up with clever names for the episodes. Thumbs down if you think my names are terrible.
Don't invite thumbs downs.
Supposed to be the thumbs up, man.
Oh yeah,
you're supposed to like my terrible, crappy name.
So if you did,
yeah,
I want credit for it because we did a Halo themed episode last week and it was called Halo. How are you? It was either going to be that or hello, is it me you're looking for? I couldn't figure out which one to use, but
episode 34.
Yeah, episode 34. Episode 34. So welcome to episode 40. We're going to do some introductions and then we're going to move right along into what we've been playing. So as usual, as we go down the panel list, on my left, Mr. Samuel Tolbert from the Air Circle.
Hey everybody, how's it going? I am glad to be back. I'm not glad to not be playing Sekiro, but I'm glad to talk about Sekiro. There's a lot to talk about. And actually, can I just say, guys, holy crap, this GDC is the most news-packed GDC we've ever had.
No kidding.
Ever. I mean, It seemed like that one day that the news just wouldn't stop coming out. It's like, good grief.
I think that was Tuesday, man.
It was
Tuesday, Wednesday.
It was something else.
Yeah, you know, and this is, I had to listen back to our last podcast because someone said there was an audio glitch, so I was listening back, and I'm sitting there going, well, people need to temper their expectations because GDC is an industry event. I need to shut up. I just need to shut up in hindsight. I was proven wrong, and anything I seem to say either gets proven wrong or I'm inevitably right. So I'm like a 50-50 right now. So...
Perfectly balanced is all.
Perfectly balanced, better track record than Tidux. Let's go.
Oh boy.
And also on my left, also from the Air Circle Games Network, Jared.
How's it going, everybody? Thanks for tuning in. Another Saturday night, lots of gaming talk. So let's get going. Lots to talk about. Lots of probably Sekiro talking, like Samsung GDC and other things that happened during the week. So let's get to it.
For sure. And joining the Gaming Perspective once again, who has not been on since episode 6 from the Third Wheel Arcade, Alden.
Hi, guys. I see how it works. I do 2 reviews for a rival website, and you guys finally bring me on. The plan worked.
Rival was a really strong word. We love Rob. We love him.
The clout was strong.
Yeah, I still for Gary saying to come on the podcast and then not showing up, and then 2 days later being like, "Sorry, brah, little brah was having some issues." I'm like, "It's okay, man." He's like literally the only guy on Twitter that I can never get mad at.
Yeah,
I constantly want to just give the man a hug. I'm like, "You are the best."
Same, but
he is very huggable. He's a very huggable guy.
I think the week after he was scheduled to be on Third Wheel, and I was like, bro, I love you, but if you're not here, I'm going to choke you.
I remember that episode because you guys were like an hour late. Oh, that's the one. That's one of the great thing about PlayStation, bra, is there's no guarantee. There is no guarantee of when I've DM'd him and I sometimes will get a reply in like 2 minutes, and then there's times I'll DM him and it'll be like 3 days later and he's like, "Oh, hey man, yeah." Okay,
the man is a mystery.
He is a mystery of Black Panther.
Man of mystery.
So we'll hop right into what we've been playing. What me, Sam, and Jared have been playing is pretty self-explanatory, so we'll get into that. But we will let Alden go first. So Alden, what have you been playing in your very limited time?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked me first because this is going to be the shortest one. I've been so busy. I've played a little bit of Division. I'm on. I'm level 6, so that's how much Division I've played. Everybody in the Third Wheel chat is playing like crazy, and they're all comparing gear, and they're like 27 and 26, and I'm like, okay, cool, guys. I'm just now getting off work, so you guys have fun. But I did get a Switch, and I am having fun with that because with what little time I can play, I am playing Zelda finally, Breath of the Wild. I'm on the cutting edge of video gaming and playing Breath of the Wild finally in 2019.
Well, I mean, like, I'll probably won't play Breath of the Wild till like its re-release on whatever's after the Switch in like 2026.
It's stuck in my backlog.
That's why we get along so well, Nick, because we're the only us and Diego in the third wheel chat. We're like, well, I don't know if I'm going to be able to play this game, and then Ains will be like, I'm on my 5th PS4. So
no,
okay.
no, Ains killed me because he was on holidays when the Division came out. So I was like, I've got a good chance here to get ahead.
Yeah.
So I got to like level 16 in like 3 days. I felt really proud of myself. And then Ains literally came back from vacation in 2 days. Was like, yeah, I'm level 23. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah. He was like, I played 30 hours in 2 days or 3 days, whatever.
It's just, I don't hate people. I just hate the amount of free time some people get.
Yeah.
Some people are more blessed in free time than I am.
Yeah. I'm there with you.
Right on. So I'm going to kick it off first because I'm the non-Soulsborne guy in the gaming perspective, because Sam and Jared and Eric are From Software nerds and should be shunned accordingly.
Good sir.
So Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice. I bought a From Software game day one and the collector's edition. So that tells you how interested in this game I was. And I ain't gonna lie, I kind of hate From Software for making the first 30 minutes of that game seem like it was going to be easy.
It lures you in, right? Like, more than other FromSoft games, Sekiro does lure you in with like, oh, this is going to be easy. And then just as you hit the hour marker, so it's like, nope.
Yeah.
Okay, so like when I played Dark Souls 3, the first intro boss was challenging, but I got past that. I was like, okay, this is a Souls game. You're going to punish me. This one, it was like, oh, this is how you do this. This is how you do. I'm like, oh my God, this is so nice. And then it's like, in no time, I'm sneaking around. I'm assassinating people. I'm feeling super badass. Run into my first mini boss by stealthed his first bar of health and took out the other one from learning using ducking mechanics. I'm like, bro, I'm actually good at this game. And then I got to the ogre. What?
The chained ogre?
Yeah, like what in the name of John Cena is his moveset? Like the amount of time I've been hit with the people's elbow at this point is just, I'm so depressed because this, like, literally, I am just Randy Orton all over the place by this thing. Like, I've been kicked off a staircase. I've been, the worst one was getting thrown on the ground, not dying, and then the counter throw to throw me in the opposite direction threw me off a cliff.
Yes, that happened to me too. There's the same guy.
I'm just sitting there. I'm like, I am so mad. Like, it's like 8 o'clock in the morning. My kids are running around. They're playing. Everybody's happy. And I'm just glaring at my monitor, angry as hell. But I really am enjoying the game. I think this is pinnacle From Software. Like, I think this is the most polished mechanical game they've ever come out with. And it's really, really rewarding to me seeing some of the super big From Software nerd friends I have really struggling with this game because they're like, what do you mean I can't roll and dodge? You mean I have to parry every time? So rewarding. So rewarding to watch people that have been yelling get good for so long. Watching them struggle is like, that's more rewarding to me than the whole.
I was gonna touch on that actually. I was gonna honestly, because I noticed when I started playing, I was like, okay, I know it's not a Dark Souls game. I'm going to go to Sekiro, try to play it as is, and I always end up reverting back to my heavily ingrained Dark Souls playstyle. It does not work at all in this game.
Sam gave me a good tip that we're going to do an article on together tomorrow in regards to defeating the ogre I'm stuck on. But I noticed that I started making more progress. Like, I couldn't even get past his first bar by trying to dodge him. But then I realized if I dodge the one specific attack, I can use the, like, grapple hook to, like, get behind him and then get some free hits. And then just block almost everything else if you time it right. And I noticed that I was getting a lot. Like, I got through his first health bar every time when I did that instead of trying to dodge everything. Because the hit detection is so much better in this game that if you dodge and you see, like, he goes to do the kick, if his heal goes anywhere near your body, it still does damage. And it's like, oh, okay.
So have you still not gotten past him?
No, I've only played for about an hour. And and when Sam's like, oh, well, after that first hour, yeah, I've hit that first hour. And I'm like, oh God, I'm here now. This is a From Software game. I thought I was going to have fun.
The ogreism becoming a meme rapidly because that is when the game suddenly kicks into gear.
Yeah.
Before that, even the general, like that's not the first boss fight, but the generals before that are pretty easy to parry and stealth and take out one of their life bars. And it's like they're pretty easy to beat, really. If you're having trouble with those guys, I don't know what to tell you. But the ogre is where things are like, crap.
Wait, hold up. Ogres?
Yeah, here's the thing. You have to understand that with certain From Software, not with certain From Software games,
Don't
but
say
with
anything.
From Software games.
Let him flail. Let him
I'm not going to tell him. You're just saying earlier boss types tended to be typical enemies later on. That's all.
Great. So mini bosses become standard enemies.
I do like Sam playing like the mob boss here and trying to dangle information from Nyx to watch him struggle.
I won't give him any tips on the fight unless you really need to.
This is the first From Software game that I've played where I'm determined to beat it.
The satisfaction, honestly, once you beat him, you're gonna sit there and just be like, "Oh, this feels so good. He's finally dead, dude." After all this time,
I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna quote Colin Moriarty here, but like when I got him down to almost one hit and then I died because the spear enemy came around the corner and jabbed me in the butt cheek.
Yep,
I felt it in my balls. Like I was so excited.
Jeez.
Like I was like, I'm finally gonna beat this guy, and I got jabbed in the butt cheek with a sword, and then the giant kicked me.
Yeah, your hands are shaking, your heart's racing. You're just like, yes, finally. No, what? No.
So I'll hand over the rest of this discussion over to the professionals. Sam, how are you enjoying it?
I'm absolutely loving Sekiro so far. Sekiro is everything I hoped it would be. It has evolved the formula to the point that you can recognize the Souls DNA, but I think Jared will agree with me that it's very different. It is by far, if Bloodborne was a slight evolution on the formula, Sekiro is a massive leap forward. It changes things.
Yeah.
Stealth mechanics are present now. Stealth is a very big deal. You have to use stealth. Some of these bosses are not possible to beat without stealth, I would say.
Oh, totally agree. You have to get like that first bar down. You have to get that stealth hit in unless you really, really want a big, long endurance.
You're going to be there for a while. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're going to be there for like 20 minutes dodging back and forward.
It's ridiculous.
The other thing is parrying. Because there's no stamina bar, you might think, oh, that makes it way easier. Wrong.
Yeah.
Because it means that every single enemy can now parry your attacks and counter you. You have to understand parrying. You have to get with the swordplay. You have to understand how to break their posture and take their stance away. And it's awesome. I absolutely love it. And the momentum, zipping around using the grappling hook on the Shinobi prosthetic to zip from 3 different points. I'm not going to give anything away, guys, but if you're impressed with like the early sections, you're going to lose it when you see some of the later stuff you have to do. Grappling along rooftops. It's awesome parkouring. That's all I gotta say. It gave me memories. I'll put it like this. It stirred up memories of Assassin's Creed 2 running across the top of Venice. That's
I know
the
exactly
kind of stuff we're talking about.
You
know what I'm talking about, Jared. You know the area I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It's so good. It's so good. There's a ton of really cool stuff. This is a lot more grounded. Like, it's way less mythological than From Soft's other games, way less fantastical. That does not mean there isn't some stuff that isn't human that is just going to mess you up if you're not careful. It's very, very interesting. It's very interesting. I have a full review coming in the next couple of days, hopefully. Some tips and tricks, maybe even some guide articles / videos Nick and I will work on together. But yeah, it's phenomenal.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I think what the nice thing about Sekiro as well is it's finally a fully fledged story-driven game too. We don't have just little pieces of lore to try to string together. We actually have a much more established story to work from, and it shows so much potential. How much of a story-driven game, single-player action RPG kind of a game that From Software can truly make, and I truly think Sekiro is a nice stepping stone for them to transition into a different direction, which is a good thing from what I can see right now. If they continue down this road, as we've always seen so far, they continually refine their games. They don't stagnate. They don't really repeat the process. They take what has worked, they expand on it, they improve upon it, they try to implement things, but not major drastic changes unless it truly works. And that makes me excited for Sekiro being the successor to Dark Souls and Bloodborne and to this Souls-like type of series, because it's not a Souls-like type of series anymore. It's on its own kind of it's a standalone genre now, I think, from Software. And I'm excited for the future of this game, and just really, really been enjoying it overall from being a big Souls fan.
Yeah, for sure. Well, anyone who knows From Software, they've been around forever. Originally, they were founded in 1986, 32 years ago, and they've been making tons and tons and tons of games. All the way, they started on the Sega Dreamcast, and they're all the way up to current devices. They've developed 15 games in-house, and to me, this is the perfect melding of the aggressiveness in combat from Bloodborne with the stealth mechanics of Tenchu, all wrapped into one nice little bundle.
Oh, that sounds so good.
It's see, the thing is I'm not a huge From Software fan, but I understand it. I get it. I'm not good at the games. I have no problem admitting I'm not good at these kind of games, because I'm one of those people that if I get tilted, I just do worse. I just do worse and worse. Like, I'll almost kill a boss and then start getting frustrated, and then I'll only get 2 hits in after that and just get more and more progressively mad. But I love the fact that From Software, they could have easily just done another Dark Souls game. They could have easily just done a Bloodborne 2, but they're like, no, we want to do this. And I have to admit, Ghost of Tsushima's got to really deliver now. Because this game, seriously, the setting and everything else, it's insane.
Some gorgeous areas later on. Some beautiful areas.
Some of the early areas too, like that the first intro scene where no spoilers because he doesn't have an arm. It's literally in the description on the game in the game store, but that field in the boss fight.
Oh, so dude, I took 10 screenshots there.
I'm so mad. I took this really brilliant screenshot during that scene. I was like, oh, I am so posting this on Twitter. I literally opened my Twitter app and someone had the exact same screenshot just posted. I'm like, ah.
Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen a few people have that screenshot. I go, yeah, I have the same one too.
But no, and if someone from Software magically listens to this podcast somehow, I love the intro cinematic story. Keep that going. The fact that the intro cinematic and all the lore they dumped right off the bat, love it. Do that in every one of your games going forward. I agree. I give a crap about my character.
Yeah. I'll say this. I think Ghost of Tsushima is going to be all right, because regardless of combat and how that compares, Ghost of Tsushima is much more open world. You got to keep that in mind. It's going to be the island of Tsushima. But I'll say what is, however, Neo 2. That game has its work cut out for it.
Yeah.
Because that's a Ghost of Tsushima is different. That's more historical, no fantasy whatsoever, hardcore realism, blah blah blah.
But Sekiro.
Neo 2 is a very close comparison. And we'll see. we'll see how it goes. I'm interested.
We'll see how Koei Tecmo responds. I'm
I-
very interested.
Yeah, I think it's most interesting to me because I'm kind of on the outside looking in. Is this game is beautiful and looks super fun. I have bought every From Software game and not played it. It's not that I don't like difficult games. It's more so that the learning curve on these games is so steep, and I don't want to take the time to learn these games. I played Bloodborne through the first, I don't know, couple hours, and I really enjoyed what I played, but it's just there's so many games to play. So for me to take all that time to dedicate to get good, as the kids say, I just it's hard for me to justify that time. But I appreciate the games for what they are. But this game looks like they did something completely different, but somehow made it it's still a From Software experience, and everybody who talks about it seems to mention all the things that are different about it, but all the people who complain about it complain about all the same things. So it's really interesting to see. And you guys talking about it for the last 15 minutes made me want to buy it so bad.
It's so good. Honestly, I think it's the perfect type of introduction into this type of game. Like, it's gentle to learn and get into it. It's good for people who are new to the series, because for someone like me and Sam, who we've played Souls games before, like I mentioned earlier, we're sometimes stuck in our own play style from the Souls games, and that doesn't work in this game. You come in fresh, learning what Sekiro is meant for you to learn, and we take what we can learn, but we don't really usually implement it because we're still stuck in our ways. So being new, you kind of have an advantage of getting into Sekiro and potentially learn it faster than some of the actual Soulsborne, veterans.
I just want to say, as we move into our next topic, imagine you are a video games company and you made Bloodborne and Sekiro in the same generation.
Talk about MVP. When we're talking about MVPs of this generation, because this generation is coming to a close, FromSoft and Capcom are both going to be.
Yeah.
Because honestly, Bloodborne, Dark Souls 3, and Sekiro alone in the same generation are pretty substantial games.
That's one heck of a repertoire.
It is. It really is. I don't game of the year, game of the year, another game of the year.
Well, look at it this way. How many studios put out 3 games in a generation? Nonetheless, 3 polished. Is Bloodborne a 90 on Metacritic too?
It's gotta be, right?
Has like I think it's high up there.
And Dark Souls 3 is in the high 80s as well.
Yeah, Dark Souls 3 is extremely high 80s. Sekiro and Bloodborne are both low 90s. So, I mean, good lord, that's pretty darn good.
Dark Souls 3 is an 89% on Metacritic. So you have 3 games you made all generation. The lowest rated game you made was an 89.
Right. That's pretty substantial.
And all those games substantially sold better than their predecessors. And 2 of those games,
at 92, I think.
2 of those games they put out, the 2 90s games, were new franchises, new IPs, fresh slate. Yeah. Nobody does that. Okay, there's no developer that's putting out that kind of quality.
Yeah, I'm racking my brain to try to think of somebody that's done more, other than a giant developer like Capcom. But
and even then, that's multiple studios,
exactly,
not a single studio.
Right.
I can't think of anyone else, because it's like Sony Santa Monica put out God of War, but that's their only game this gen.
Right.
I can't think of anyone.
Like Sony Santa Monica would have to put out 2 more God of Wars to compete.
Mm-hmm. Which when you vocalize that, sounds absolutely nutty.
Right.
Right. You just need to put 2 more God of Wars. We'll be all right, Corey. We'll be all right. But no, shout out to From Software and their passion for their fans and understanding their player base. So, moving right along into our first piece of news. Google Stadia. Throw it in the garbage. Moving on.
Oh boy. All right.
Now,
check out the list.
I'm not going to be the old man that shouts at clouds. And no, not Cloud, the video game character from Final Fantasy.
At video game clouds.
Yeah, video game clouds. So Google Stadia was revealed at GDC. Google held their event. I I just want your guys' general impressions on the presentation. To me, it felt like they were doing an E3 presentation at GDC because they were using a lot of hot, trendy words. And I'm sitting there going, these are developers. They don't really care. It kind of felt weird, like going on about 4K 60 FPS gaming and teraflops. And I don't really think developers give a crap about that. It felt like they were doing an E3 presentation at GDC.
Oh, I was just going to say they're trying to sell a product to developers in a way that they would sell it to the masses.
Consumer.
Yeah, to a consumer. When the developers are going, we can see right through this crap, right? Get to the technical stuff.
Well, I'll just put my 2 complaints on that and let you guys talk about it. Because I'm going to do a video on Google Stadia. Google's forced me out of retirement so I can yak about how I view them. 2 things bug me about this. You're talking about power and hardware and everything else. You have no hardware to show. Number 2 thing that bugged the hell out of me. If you're going to come out and show off all this amazing tech and everything else, and you're going to brag about the power of it and everything else, show it better. I walked away from that going, okay. Like, and never ever, if you're pitching something to video game developers, don't ever start off your conference with, I don't even play games. Really?
Yeah, it's a bad start.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not a huge into the whole quote unquote gamer culture, but I do a video game podcast and everything else. And like, you're Google. You got to try to convince people you're not just trying to get people's money and run off with it. Coming out and going, I'm not even a gamer. That really doesn't sell people on your intentions. And then not talking about things like bandwidth usage, what you require. Like, they're talking, oh, you'll be able to do 4K 60 FPS, but they're like, yeah, you need a 25 megabyte per second speed minimum to obtain 1080 60. And then people that actually tested it were like, yeah, it's actually not that good, and you need better than that. So there's that. They don't talk about how much of your bandwidth it's going to chew up, because a lot of people in America have data caps. Mm-hmm. How fast is it going to chew through your internet usage? Those are things they should have talked on, because those are people's questions. They didn't answer anyone's question.
How is it 10 teraflops of power?
Well, it's Sam will correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I believe they're talking in server processing, not.
It's server blades. They're talking about server blades. The problem is it's not a good comparison to do on 2 levels. For starters, you're comparing your new hardware, which is effectively kicking off next gen, by the way. I'm just saying, when Google Stadia launches, that is the beginning of next gen. Just like the Wii U was the beginning of this current generation in 2012. But so not only is it not a good comparison in that way, but it's servers. It doesn't really matter. You can stack the server blades for instances. It's not a good comparison to make, because one of them is a box you paid hundreds of dollars for that sits under your TV or on your desktop or whatever, and the other is a server farm that you are temporarily granted access to and is being streamed. It's not a good comparison.
Well, and that was kind of my problem with it. And like, you're talking to developers that would know this. This felt like they were trying to sell it to the general public. Like, it makes Google seem like they're tone deaf to their audience already. Like, this felt like a better E3 presentation where the masses don't know as much.
It definitely did. It seemed like it was geared towards us, the consumer. It seemed like they watched a Nintendo Direct and said, "Oh yeah, let's do that at GDC."
And you guys can correct me if you're wrong, but the amount of partners they had was vaguely pathetic. Like, it was Google. I expected them to come out swinging. Yeah, Jade Raymond heading up your first party studio is big. That Jade Raymond is infinitely talented. But okay, so you got ID to come up and be like, yeah, we'll put Doom Eternal on here and a few others, but there was not anything as substantial. Like, people were going on about, like, there was a rumor Square Enix was going to reveal their Marvel game, and that Rocksteady was going to debut their game there, and there was all this hubbub of all these developers that were going to be hopping on the Google hype train, and it just fell short. And I don't know. I don't know about you guys, but I don't trust Google at all, as I say in my Google Hangout.
That's a good point.
Nice.
Do you guys think this is going to go anywhere, or do you think this is going to be another project that they let live for about 2 years and then squash it?
Oh, it's hard to tell, but I'm leaning towards abandonment after 2 to 3 years, just because this almost feels a little rushed to try to get ahead of Microsoft and to get it out there faster than them. But I think Microsoft has a much more established infrastructure with Azure Cloud in comparison. So it's really interesting to see what's going to happen, because if Microsoft comes out really swinging, and we know they are going to with xCloud, and once they do, if Google can't even remotely compete, they're going to get ignored, because Xbox is going to dominate all over them at the same North American market for the most part. And then Microsoft is still trying to reach out to the mobile market on a global scale as well. So really, in the end, Google doesn't really have anywhere to hide for a market.
Yeah, and kind of to Sam's point is that 10 teraflops and everything that they were saying was to compare it to PS4 and Xbox One.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe the presentation did seem rushed. Maybe they weren't prepared for this, but they realized they needed to get this out now so they could compare it to the PS4 and Xbox One instead of in 8 months when there are specs out there for the PS5 and the Xbox whatever.
Yeah.
And so maybe it was rushed before they had the partnerships in place. And of course, like you said, Nick, it's Google, and there's no reason to believe that a year from now they're not going to go, what we did a video game thing? What was it?
Well, and before I get to Sam's point where he utterly destroys this topic with no, the thing that peeved me off about this is they introduced Jade Raymond. She's hanging up their first party studio. So you're telling me your first party studio isn't even working on something yet you're launching your service. It's going to take them like 3 years to make a game.
Mm-hmm.
So why is your first party studio like, this is stuff like if you were going to launch hardware, you'd want to have studios working on stuff like 2 to 3 years before, so you had something to show off. Showing off stuff that people can play natively on their own hardware isn't going to make people care. Whether people like to admit on social media or not, exclusivity is a great way of selling hardware. And Google going, oh, well, you're only going to be able to buy first-party Google Studio games on Stadia. Nobody cares. You have a studio headed up by someone that has insane professional pedigree off of what they did prior, but you have nothing else to show.
Well, and they made that statement and then really didn't give you any sort of information about what their Google games are going to be.
Exactly. And like, I'm just not sold on it, because all Xbox and Sony are going to do is like, oh yeah, we have streaming options. We've got PS Now. We've got, because I have no doubt Sony will double down on keep on working on PS Now as a functioning service. And Microsoft's going to have xCloud. So they're going to be like, yeah, you can stream on all your devices and play the games natively. And Google's only going to be streamable. So there's a whole field they can't compete with.
I'm going to...
Yeah,
Sorry,
go ahead, Go ahead, Sam. I'm done.
I was just going to say, didn't mean to interrupt you. I'm sorry. It's just, keeping this brief, my biggest issue is we need to know pricing. We need to know data usage. We need to know content. All of that is an issue, but the biggest one by far is the content.
Mm-hmm.
Pardon me. Excuse me. I'm sorry, but they did not have even a quarter as many partners on this as I thought they were going to. They got Ubisoft and id Software. Oh, and some indie team. That's it. They are nowhere near as ready as I thought they were. If heading up your first party by Jade Raymond is brilliant, but why are they just starting now? They needed to be started last year or before that, because it's going to be at least 3 years until we get a game from them. Probably more than that, because new studios take time, especially if they're working on a AAA game. How is that going to work? What games do we actually know will be on Stadia aside from Assassin's Creed Odyssey and id Software's Doom Eternal? We don't. That's not compelling. They have way too many questions that we need to have answered. So yeah, that's where I'm at on it. I could go on for some time, but I think that says it all.
That says it all, and I really think if people watch PC Gamer and Digital Foundry and a bunch of other sites that covered this event, they were unimpressed. Like there was a gentleman who did an amazing article about his time with Doom, and he said it was terrible. The frame pacing was bad, the performance was bad, the input lag was bad, the whole experience was bad. And this is in an optimal setting. This is in a place where your technology needs to be on point. When you're showing media stuff, this is a perfect case scenario. You should have everything plugged into a great internet source. You should have everything running flawlessly.
Well, and they have the money to have made sure that this was the most seamless event in history. And it wasn't, which is scary for them.
Yeah. And look, I'll say the same thing I've been saying to people. I was doing YouTube when YouTube was bought by Google. The first thing Google did when they took over YouTube was laid off 90% of the support staff for YouTube. And then they went, oh, this site doesn't work that well anymore. Oh, comment sections are really toxic. Oh, this stuff doesn't work. Who was responsible for all this stuff? Oh, the 90% of the people you fired. Oh, what should we do to restrict that? Oh, we'll just demonetize everyone and move forward. Yeah. No. Google and all the people that are being Google fanboys, stop. I think we're going to look back on Stadia, and 20 years from now, when game streaming is a standard, when the technology catches up, we'll be like, oh, Google was onto something. They were just 20 years too early.
Oh, man.
So you don't like my idea of making Third Wheel Arcade the world's first Google-centric podcast?
Well, I mean, if you want to. That's fine choice, but, you know, as they always say in the industry, choices, Alden. Choices. We're gonna move right along, and Sam's gonna head up this topic because this is a pretty big one, especially if you're an RPG fan. So, Sam, can you take this one away?
Okay, yeah. So I swear I'm not joking when I make this announcement. Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 is real. It's coming out. It's happening. Now, if you're like some people and you're going, huh? What? Vampires, Masquerade, what? Huh? What's going on? Okay. Let's wind the clock back to 2004, okay? Let's reset the stage. Troika Games has been working on an incredible RPG called Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines. It's based on the Vampire the Masquerade tabletop RPG, which is a world of vampires and necromancers and werewolves all in hidden societies, and the masquerade refers to the fact that they're hidden in plain sight. They're trying to live secret lives so they don't draw the attention of humans. It's a cool thing. Anyways, and this was an incredibly ambitious RPG. They were going to make your choices matter. They were going to have cool powers, but also guns and melee weapons and different endings and choose different vampire clans to ally with. It was too good to be true. And unfortunately, it was too good to be true. Troika Games was in way over their head. The game came out, to call it buggy is an understatement. Okay, it was broken. That thing did not work. But here's the crazy part. Here's the twist. The modding community went, no, the foundation of what they have here is insane. Let's fix this thing, boys. And they fixed it. The game then worked to the point that it has now been relisted on Steam for some time, and you can run it with basically no issues. It's an older game. It's a 2004 RPG, so, you know, some jank. The visuals are dated, but it works now. And people realize that, yeah, you know what? This studio was in over their head trying to adapt this thing, but this is an incredible game. The role-playing is nirvana. I mean, to give you an idea, you need to understand this. In terms of pure role-playing games, it's generally agreed upon that this / Fallout New Vegas are the best RPGs of all time. When we're talking about your choices mattering and actually role-playing and dialogue choices and stuff like that, it's held up there with Fallout New Vegas. So it's one of the greats. But the rights were in absolute hell because the game was published by Activision and the studio Troika Games went out of business and 10,000 other issues. And then you have the rights to the RPG being licensed from White Wolf Entertainment, which is actually the tabletop game. And then who knows that? But then Paradox Interactive acquired White Wolf. What on earth is going on? The idea that this thing could ever get a cool sequel was a pipe dream. You would be accused of smoking crack because there's no way it could happen. Except it just did. And Paradox Interactive has secretly been working with a studio called, hold on one second, let me get their name, Hardsuit Labs, and a sequel is coming out next year. So there you go.
Sam, you know
Paradox
more about
Interactive, eh?
you know more about Vampire the Masquerade than I know about anything in the entire world.
No kidding.
I'm
Damn
impressed.
sir.
Yeah.
Like I'll be real. Like I played the hell out of the original. The original released in 2004. Yes. I was huge into PC gaming still at this point, and it was. And when Sam says that it was ahead of its time, I mean it was like almost a decade ahead of its time in terms of its decision-making quality, its branching dialogue, and everything else. Like it was on par, if not better than some BioWare games for the time, which, you know, early 2000s BioWare was like the premium RPG experience.
Right.
In terms of storytelling and gameplay. Unfortunately, this game was buggy, but one of the most interesting aspects of it is it had violent and non-violent play styles. You could actually play the game 100% passively, which at that time was huge. Like now we have games like Dishonored that you can do that. And there's a lot more games that allow you to have that adaptive play style. But this was one of those first games that did that. And to be able to just talk your way and persuade your way and stealth through a whole game for that time period, it was huge. And the fact that it's getting a sequel, I remember seeing the rumor for this last week. I think it was PC Gamer that reported it. I was like, oh, this game's coming back. I'm like, no, it's not. There's no way. Like, as Sam detailed everything, the licensing, everything was a nightmare with that game. And to know that it's coming back, I'm really excited. And Sam may be able to answer this or not. Is this coming to console or no?
Yes, it's coming to console. Not just it's PC, and it's on all PC launchers. So I don't want to hear any issues. GOG, check. Steam, check. Epic Store, check. It's check. It's there. Okay, you can be.
You can even go into your PC game
store
and buy a physical copy if you wanted to.
Let's not get crazy. It's also coming to PS4 and it's coming to Xbox One sometime in 2020. They're not willing to give a release date just yet, but they're willing to say it's 2020. And the plot setup is that you are a human that has been turned into a vampire in an event called a mass embrace. A mass embrace in the lore is a highly illegal, disturbing thing when vampires forcibly turn a group of humans into new vampires. Because of the issues that this can cause, you and the other Thin Bloods are scheduled to be executed, but you escape your execution with a mysterious phone call. And this phone call guides you to an apartment, and you have a choice to learn, why was I turned? What was going on? Who are the different clans? Who do I ally with? Guys, like this is my jam. I love intense role playing. I love dark and gothic stuff. This fits me to a T. I am so looking forward to this. And not only that, sorry, go ahead.
Did you ever play the original, Sam?
Unfortunately, I have not had the chance to play the original.
What?
No. But I am going to be playing the original.
Don't you worry about it.
The video game. Okay, let me rephrase that. I have not played the video game. I am very familiar with the tabletop role playing game.
I had a friend.
The video game. I've not had a chance yet, but I'm going to be playing it very shortly.
Yeah, do you have it yet or no?
I'm going to be getting it very soon. Like when I'm done with Sekiro.
You send me your Steam ID, I will send it to you. You don't worry about that. You need to experience this greatness.
I have a couple friends who were obsessed with the tabletop version of this game. I think in the back of my mind I knew there was a video game for it, but when I hear the name, I just think of the tabletop version.
Yeah, I'm not actually familiar with the tabletop. I was just familiar with the PC game. I actually didn't know it was based off a tabletop game. That's awesome. Add that to a list of games that were tabletop games that became games, because Baldur's Gate is essentially just Dungeons and Dragons. Oh, that's awesome.
It is.
Yeah, I'm still in awe about this happening, guys. I mean, they're taking this super serious. There's going to be political issues, nonviolent paths, vampire abilities, other creatures, and post-launch expansions. This is going to have story expansions, and your character creator. This is a really cool thing. You create your character twice. Once for your physical human attributes, and then again after you've been turned into a vampire.
You know what, Sam? I used to dream about this game coming back, and I always wanted Arcane Studios to do it because I thought they would be the studio that would be able to do this. But it sounds like the people that are behind it right now know exactly what they're doing, and I'm so excited.
It sounds good.
I am too. You know who Hardsuit Labs is?
Yes.
I presume. Yeah. Formerly Zombie Studios. They made games like Blacklight, Tango Down. Let's see. Let me pull up a list of their IPs. Spec Ops, some of the old Spec Ops games. Blackwater. They a lot of older games, but they've recently retooled. They've been hiring quite a bit. It's looking interesting. Looking very, very interesting.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what they can do with it. There's always room in my life for another 100-hour RPG. No, that's exciting. People need to be excited for this. What they should do, and this is a dream of mine, is they should port the 2004 version to console so people have context. But I don't know. They may have been able to get the license for this game, but I'm pretty sure that the first game's probably got to be in some hell space somewhere. Actually, it's still available on Steam, so it can't be that far off in a hell space.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's $20 on Steam. So if you guys are interested, I will warn you, as Sam said, it has aged. It is very janky, but the storytelling's amazing. So we're gonna move right along here. So another thing Sam loves to gush about, Remedy Entertainment confirms the release date for Control. The rumors were true this time. The previously leaked release date for Control has been confirmed by the game's developers, Remedy Entertainment. The game will indeed launch on August 27th for the Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and PC. The release date was mistakenly leaked yesterday on the Xbox Digital Game Store. This will be the first time a Remedy developed game will appear on a PlayStation console since Max Payne 2 for the PS2. Wow. The company has spent a considerable amount of time making console-exclusive games for Xbox platforms such as Alan Wake and Quantum Break. Control was officially announced last year on Sony's stage during their E3 2018 press conference. Control differs from typical Remedy games in other ways. For example, the game is considerably less linear than earlier titles from the studio. There's even a Metrovania aspect to the game with areas that can only be accessed later when your characters acquired new powers. And that was written and reported on by Jason from the Inner Circle. Wow, I actually thought that'd be Sam that would have got that one. Jason stealing their Remedy thunder. I'm excited for this game. I've kind of fallen in love with Remedy's games. I love their style. Quantum Break had its flaws, but at its core, I love the core gameplay, and it looks like it's the same core gameplay with fixing some of the mistakes in Quantum Break. So bring it on. Anyone else picking up Control?
Yeah, I'm definitely going to get it.
I am.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even know why I asked, Sam. I think August 27th is a really smart date because, we feel super swamped with all the games coming out this year, but summer still feels relatively empty. Actually, the last 6 months of this year is all just possible release dates at this point. We don't really have anything concrete for fall or winter yet. People are it's going to be interesting to see how fall and holiday 2019 shapes up. But it's cool that Control has a smart release date. I'm glad it's before fall and they're getting a good summer release date. I think this game will succeed very well. And I'm happy that PlayStation owners get to experience the Remedy greatness again. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Any other thoughts on this, guys, or we'll move right along here?
Not a whole lot. I haven't played really many of Remedy's games. If
Shame
any.
on you.
Yeah, I know, man. Diego wants to kill me every time we talk about it because
Oh man.
he's obsessed with Alan Wake, and I've never played it. But everything I've seen about Control just looks amazing. Just everything that they're doing with that game looks so fun. So I'm excited for that one.
Yeah, same here. Like, it just looks like a really sweet, kick-ass kind of sci-fi game that we don't usually get as a game. It also looks like you'll be able to control and do things you don't, typically do in a game as well. So they're kind of just going out there on a limb with Control in this really weird sci-fi kind of way, but it's really interesting, and I think it's really going to pay off for them in a pretty big way. It just looks like a hell of a lot of fun.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm excited. Moving right along. And exciting news. Since Sony announced that PlayStation would not be attending E3 2019, many fans have been wondering when they'd learn more about upcoming PlayStation content. In a new post on the PlayStation blog, Sony announced a State of Play, a Nintendo Direct style, a video showcase to talk about things happening at PlayStation.
Inside Xbox, is that you?
Okay, now see, there's been this whole argument on social media about who started it. Like, I've seen people drag up stuff that was like, "Oh, there was a show for PS3." I'm like, nobody cared about PS3. Let's move on. The thing is you can argue who started first, but last gen, both Sony and Xbox had shows, because if anyone follows the Outside Xbox YouTube channel, those used to be the guys that did the Inside Xbox back last gen, which is a super weird that they got to become outside it, and it's weird.
Yeah.
But those are really great folks too. So State of Play, its first episode kicks off Monday, March 25th at 2 p.m. Pacific time. State of Play will give you updates and announcements from the world of PlayStation. Our first episode will showcase upcoming PS4 and PSVR software, including new trailers, new game announcements, and new gameplay footage. You'll watch on Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, or Facebook worldwide. We'll be offering up the VOD edition shortly after the episode airs. And this is just the beginning. State of Play will return throughout the year with more updates and announcements. This is an interesting move for PlayStation, one that seems to mirror the Nintendo Direct and Inside Xbox presentations we've seen from Nintendo and Microsoft. This will likely focus on immediate upcoming news, but we'll have to wait and see. And of course, you can follow us at Tick Games Network, and we will keep you all up to date on that juicy stuff. Shameless self-plug. So what are you guys kind of expecting here? What are you expecting for State of Play? I'll start with Alden because he's our actual resident PlayStation guy.
Yeah, see, I love PlayStation, unlike all of you. But whoa, I don't know. I think, and I've been saying this for a while, I'm surprised that Sony hasn't had kind of an Inside Xbox or Nintendo Direct style show, because why wouldn't you in this day and age? I really don't expect a whole lot out of this first one, just because I think they're still holding a lot that they're waiting to announce. I don't think they're going to come out in this and go, all right, here's The Last of Us 2's release date. It's coming out next month. But I do think, I don't know, it'll be fun and it'll be nice to see. And a lot of people on Twitter are going to argue about it. That's what I'm expecting out of this, is a lot of arguments on Twitter the second it goes live.
Yeah,
Wow.
Probably. And
you're
right though. It's all it is. It's just going to be a little fan informative thing, kind of like Inside Xbox. It's nothing major.
It's annoying because the same people that hype Inside Xbox are now going to be dunking on this, and the people that dunked on Inside Xbox is going to be hyping this up. Look, if you're a fan of a platform, any information for that platform is exciting. Sam can attest to the fact that when they brought up the State of Decay 2 news at the last Inside Xbox, I was giddy as hell. Okay, I love that game. I love State of Decay 2. It's one of my favorite games. I started a new community while Sekiro was installing because I knew I was going to have to need a game when I was getting pissed off with Sekiro to play. And I find State of Decay 2 relaxing, which might be odd to some people, but community management really helps the OCD factor.
No, I can see it because
I get it.
a lot of the time you're not. Yeah, I can see it.
The one thing I don't expect to see though is Last of Us 2. I think everyone's going into this hoping to see Last of Us 2, but I don't think we'll see anything from it. I'd like to be wrong,
Don't expect anything.
But
Nope.
For them to hype Last of Us 2 right before Days Gone comes out, I think would be a poor move.
That's one way of putting it. And here's another thing, guys. Okay, this is not Sam the Xbot. Like, I want these games just as much as you guys do. Okay, Last of Us is one of my all-time favorites. I really, really want to see cool news. But Sean Layden said quite bluntly to Game Informer that they just didn't have enough to make E3 worthwhile. If they didn't have enough to make an E3 show worthwhile, how are they going to have enough months before E3 to make this showcase big and worthwhile? Do you see what I'm saying? Do you see what I'm getting at here? It's like you're going to get a Dreams early access release date and a new trailer, maybe some gameplay footage for Days Gone, like maybe an update on a VR game, talk to a third-party studio on a game that's coming up, like that sort of thing. It's going to be an inside Xbox type thing, and that's okay. That's all right. It's okay to have events for the people who don't really stay in the loop on this kind of stuff like we do. That's okay.
Yeah.
Right.
I'll just say my little piece is the thing is anyone going in expecting Last of Us Part 2, Ghost of Tsushima release date, and Death Stranding release date, just stop.
It's unrealistic.
No, it's the same thing that annoys me with Xbox guys about demanding a Fable and Halo and like 15 release dates.
Oh yeah, totally.
For stuff heading into E3 this year. I'm just like, curb your expectations. I will not slander Naughty Dog because Alden and Sam are here, and I'd probably get both my legs broken.
Yeah, I've never jumped through a monitor before, but I'll see if I
we
can.
Try.
But regardless, what you're going to see, what I hope to see, is more information on Dream's early access program and how you're going to be able to get it. Information on Concrete Genie, because that's supposed to release this spring. And last time I checked, we're getting pretty close to summer.
Yeah.
See,
it's one of those things, kind of like last year.
The game the PlayStation podcast forgot about.
It's kind of like Concrete Genie coming out this spring, in spring 2019, is kind of like when they said, Media Molecule said that they'd hear news on Dreams in 2018. It's like, we're running out of year here. We're running out of spring. You need to. You need to say something.
The Ashton thing of we're still releasing in 2018. We're still releasing. Yeah, December 17th. Woo!
Yeah. Hey, they never got delayed. They never got delayed. If you don't give a release date until the last second.
Yeah. Well, regardless, I think you'll see stuff on Dreams. I'm sick of seeing Days Gone trailers. Just release the damn game. Okay. Agreed. Like, this is the same. I talked with Nolan Nerdcast from SDGC about this. I am so tired of 15 trailers before a game comes out. That E3 trailer ruined probably one of the best moments in Marvel Spider-Man.
Agreed.
And I really feel like with Days Gone, they're not marketing this game right. You have all this horde tech, you have all this, and they're trying to tap into the story potential of the game. I'm like, if I want story potential, I'm going to buy The Last of Us Part 2. I just want a dumb zombie game that's fun. Just give me that.
Where's these coming out soon?
Yeah. I'm not sure of the quality of that game. I've got some concerns with that one. But that launches the week before, that has horde tech, that has this, that has that. So they got to compete with that. And I agree with Alden. If Sony comes out and starts talking about Last of Us Part 2 before Days Gone even comes out, oof. Yeah. Oof. You can't do that to Sony Benj. You can't do that to them. Like, I think part of the reason we haven't heard anything about Last of Us Part 2 is because they need to get Days Gone out the door. This game was supposed to come out like 2 years ago. And that's part of the problem, is I feel like that's why there's a holdup on The Last of Us Part 2 getting a date or even being talked about past E3. It's because they don't want to drown out the hype for Days Gone, because that game's got to have time to breathe. So Concrete Genie, Dreams. Maybe we'll see something about Wild. Anyone remember that game? Wild?
Stop it.
Vaporware. But they renewed they renewed the trademarks. So obviously there's a game coming, according to 7 articles I read from the same website. But thing is head in with low expectations. If they blow your expectations out of the water, that's awesome. And then you're not disappointed if you're not. I'm a constant pessimist. You can ask Sam. I'm just a miserable bastard to talk to. Oh, this really exciting thing. No, it's not happening. But we'll wait and see. Hopefully they got some cool stuff. I'm all for this. I want Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo. I love this communicating with your fans every month. I love it. I love to know what's going on. I love knowing every little stupid thing about the games I enjoy. I don't understand why people are like, oh, you didn't announce a game. That conference wasn't worth it. I'm like, oh, okay. Okay. I don't know. Yeah. I just enjoy these little Nintendo Directs inside Xboxes. I like the little bits of news, and then E3 to show off all the big flashy stuff. I love it.
Yeah, these have become like the new magazine. Every month or two, we get to sit there and learn about these things that we didn't think about or know about before.
Yeah, exactly. It's pretty awesome. So no complaints there. We're going to breeze through these next 3 topics because they're not really that big of a deal. Cuphead goes to Nintendo Switch.
That's awesome. Not a big deal? This is the biggest deal to me.
It's not on Vita, so I don't care. It's the only handheld that matters. The Vita.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Here we go.
So Cuphead's coming in Nintendo Switch. This thing's gonna sell gangbusters on Switch. Like,
yeah, it is.
Is this coming, Sam? You would know more than me because you keep up with the finer details. Is there gonna be a physical release for this or no?
Currently unknown.
They haven't mentioned it, but they go ahead.
No, I was just saying we're gonna have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see what they say.
They should.
I think there was an interview where they cryptically said, like, we'd like to, but we'll see what the future holds, or something like that.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's probably going to be based on like interest, and see like how many people are interested in buying it. If they get decent sales, or if it's doing gangbusters, I'm having a difficult time believing that they wouldn't. But regardless,
I just want to see Cuphead track on MPD again. That would feel...
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool. And you know what's also cool about this? The fact that Microsoft actually approached Nintendo. And Nintendo agreed to put in Xbox Live support for cloud saves and achievements. And even in the announcement said, by the way, this is coming from our friends at Microsoft. It's like, what universe are we living in where that can happen?
So they did say that achievements will pop on this version?
Yep.
Yeah, not at launch. It's going to be coming post-launch. But they're going to get... Because it's a little tricky. They have to get some things figured out. But yeah, Xbox Live support is coming.
That is the biggest thing I miss on my Switch, by the way, is achievements and trophies.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
And you know what? If Nintendo has no interest in doing it, add Xbox Live. Yeah. Sure. That's a fine substitute. I can work with it.
Oh, I can't wait.
No, and you know what? Everyone who follows this podcast knows I've been screaming at Microsoft and Phil Spencer to buy Studio MDHR. If they're not going to buy them, doing something like this is huge because this game is so made for Switch, and I know every Switch nerd I know is going to buy this game.
Me.
And it's such a great game that these guys deserve all the money in the world. Cuphead was one of those games, and this is why I don't really care for exclusivity. Everyone needs to be able to play this game. It is
agreed.
It's insane. And the crossover art, shout out to the Nintendo community on Reddit that have been hand drawing Nintendo bad guys as Cuphead bosses. There was an impeccable one that someone doing up Bowser and Princess Peach in a castle with Mario looking shocked. And Cuphead and Mugman like getting ready to like beat some butt. And it was just so well done, and some of the artwork that's coming from it, it's like, this would be cool DLC. Speaking of which, hopefully, since we're talking about Cuphead coming to Switch, maybe we get some details about that DLC that's coming. Hopefully, maybe
we'll see. They did confirm that the DLC is going to launch at the same time now on all platforms. That's a change. That wasn't going to be the case before. That will be the case now. And that there are some updates like new animations and new panel art that are going to be in the Switch version that are going to be patched into the other versions.
Yeah, and you'll be able to play as Mugman as first player now.
Oh, that is
yes.
so
You can't
cool.
Not just Cuphead. You can
Mhm.
swap back and forth.
I could be Luigi and Cuphead, basically.
Exactly.
Oh, okay. No, I'm excited for this. Shout out to Studio MDHR. I love those guys and everything they do. Shout out to them. Actually, they were in Toronto last month before that, just outside town for me, and it was called The Music of Cuphead. It was hosted by Studio MDHR, and they had a full jazz orchestra playing the whole
that'd
sound
be awesome. I'd love to go to that.
So shout out to them. Awesome performance. Got to watch some of it streamed. It was awesome.
Cool.
Yeah, so really exciting time for Studio MDHR, and shout out for Xbox for creating those bridges so that they could create that. And I hope to see more bridges erected going forward. So I just realized I need to kick someone's arse on our website for editing. Because Konami celebrates 50 years with Castlevania and Contra. 50 years with Castlevania and Contra? 50? It's 50. Is it 50? It hasn't been that long, has it?
We're getting old.
First anniversary crash is all about those arcade classics. Players will be able to pick from 8 different games that hit arcades back in the 80s.
So not 1969, which would have been 50 years ago?
Okay. Well, regardless. So it's looking like Castlevania and Contra and Arcade Classics Collection is licensed by Konami, our favorite company, that owns IPs that I love and does nothing with them. Cough, cough, Silent Hill, cough, cough, Metal Gear Solid.
Why'd you have to bring up Silent Hill? Because
it's like ripping off a Band-Aid on a wound. It just hurts more.
No, it feels like stabbing a knife into an old scar.
Sekiro, Jared dies 3 times.
Actually, it's been about like 100 and something times, but let's not mention that too much, okay?
Okay, we won't talk about it. So Sam already gave his pessimistic view pre-show. Do you guys think this is a sign Konami's starting to dip their toe in to see what the interest is, or do you think they're just cashing in on classic IPs with minimum effort?
That one.
That one.
Yeah.
Shoot.
I really wouldn't read too much into this. It feels more like a cash in. If they want to prove me wrong, they are welcome to prove me wrong.
Yeah, please.
Sorry.
What are you talking about? Metal Gear Survive was a great game.
Bye, guys.
I almost physically vomited.
It was nice.
Yeah. Nice having you on the podcast, Alden. I completely understand why you're leaving.
I'm going to go check myself into a hospital. I feel like I came down with something. I can't even. Oh my god. No, I've got. Yeah.
There doesn't seem to be any effort made into this. I'm still going to buy it because I'm obsessed with Castlevania, especially these older ones. But they give no reason to think that they're putting any effort into this. It really just kind of seems like they put them on an emulator on a disc and shipped it, or are going to ship it.
What are you talking about? They'll get the intern that did the awesome menu art for Symphony of the Night and the Rondo Split to come back and do it again.
Yeah, another thing that people thought might be a sign of good things to come and wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
So
look how that ended up.
Yeah, so we're just gonna say that Konami's probably just cashing in on a cash cow and not to expect too much of this.
Yep.
Breaks my heart.
Yeah.
My heart.
Achy
Konami
breaky heart.
Yeah, achy breaky heart. Great. I'm gonna have that stuck in my head all night.
The problem is a lot of times I like to say you should vote with your wallet, which I also stole from Colin Moriarty, but I don't think that works in this case, because I think if we all voted with our wallet and stopped buying these easy cash grabs by Konami, they would just say, okay, cool, we're just going to stop altogether. They wouldn't then decide to make a full-fledged great game. They would just go, cool, we're done.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you, and I'm pretty sure Sam would probably agree with that too. It's Konami would just go, oh, people aren't interested? Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, the last topic, before we get into our discussion topic, my favorite video game of 2018, Sea of Thieves, got an anniversary update and added in the most important feature in any video game: fishing. I'm loving it because one of the developers said that they were fighting a megalodon and they looked over and all three of his teammates were fishing. I cannot wait to fish during very important moments in the game and absolutely troll the hell out of Ivan. That's all I'm looking forward to. So there's going to be a lot of stuff that's coming with this anniversary updates. Players looking to see a little more of what's coming on April 30th can watch the upcoming live streams. The list of the time and date of what they're going to be showing off. So on April 10th, they'll be showing off the Arena, which is the all-new competitive game mode that allows friends to battle each other's crews to gather the most loot. The Hunter's Call, a new trading company that will help you get to legendary pirate status. And Tall Tales Shores of Gold, story-based quests that you can complete on your own or with a crew of friends. So they're adding in something this game I thought should have had, which is story-based content, which is super cool that they're adding this in post-launch. They're doing a lot of work with this game. They've taken a lot of feedback, and they've done something with that feedback. So shout out to Rare. Anyone actually going to jump back into Sea of Thieves?
I actually will. Yes, I will hop back in and check it out.
Definitely.
I will try it.
Yeah.
So there's your Z's, bruh.
Yeah, take that.
Yeah.
I'll definitely try it. I love Sea of Thieves. It just didn't have enough to it. It's weird that we're finally getting more to do in the game, but I'll definitely get back in there and try it. I don't think a lot of people will, but I hope more people do.
I haven't really touched the game since close to launch, honestly.
I haven't touched it since launch week.
Yeah.
I'm curious to dive back in.
I haven't I can't say since launch week. I did jump back in a handful of times when I've been at a party with Anchor, and he's like, "Oh, I'm getting a big treasure haul. Do you want to jump in for money?" I'm like, "Sure."
I can do that for money.
For money.
Right.
I'll take my shirt off on this podcast for $20.
No, boy.
No.
Oh boy. No. I'll pay you $25 to keep it on.
But no, I will be jumping into Sea of Thieves. Part of me wants to do an article or a video on it of how it's come in the past year, because it has come exponentially far as a game. And the fact that it's all free, I cannot applaud Rare enough. The fact that the only revenue for them is people buying this game. There's no microtransactions in this game. There is a rumor right now on their forums that they might be adding microtransaction pets. But the price points they were polling people for was like $1.99 for a monkey or something, which, you know, considering I think I paid like $9.99 for a helmet in Ghost Recon Wildlands, and I paid on average like $20 to $25 for skins and Smite, I'm perfectly okay with a monkey for $1.99. So maybe we'll do a gaming perspective stream, and we'll get all the guys playing Sea of Thieves. I'll even drag Eric in.
That sounds like an awesome
fun.
idea. That has comedic gold potential. That is a fantastic idea.
Oh man, I can see all the things happening, like going wrong. I can see Anchorman trying to get a crew together and trying to invade our server and to crash our party. I could totally see that.
Can you intentionally join someone else's server? You can't, right? Like,
you can. There's ways of doing it, because there is a group on Twitter. I think they're called the Treasure Hoarders, and they take over servers and then do like 12-hour long. How much gold can we pile?
I would definitely do a rival third wheel stream
Very.
while you do the gaming perspective theme, and we could just go
Epically
after
fail
each other. Yeah.
each other. That'd be amazing. I
Yeah.
just want Dan's audio as he
That'd be a
screams
lot
at
of
me as
fun.
I try to stab him with a banana. Uh, but no, Sea of Thieves getting more updates, more content. They're listening to fans. Love it. Keep it up. Interested to see what next year is going to be. The next little bit's going to mean for Rare. So yeah, and I see you in the chat, Dan, and I'm coming with you with a banana. And if anyone doesn't know, that is an old Monty Python reference. What do you do when a man attacks you with a banana? And if you don't know that reference, I sound very old for a 25-year-old.
Yeah, you do.
And seeing as no one really acknowledged it, I feel really old right now. So we're going to get right to our discussion.
I know it, but I am old.
Yeah, you're like 31 or something. So yeah, that helps.
Whoa, he's only like 3 years older than me. Not even 2.5, probably.
35.
Jeez. Okay, he's a little bit older than that. Then.
I'm the old head of this podcast. You have taken over Eric's role.
Yeah, but I'm the young guy on third wheel, so
It counts then. It counts. So our discussion topic for tonight is I hate saying this studio name. Quantic Dream Games are coming to the Game Store. So my two most loved companies are coming together to just be awful.
Oh boy.
So
Nick's dunking time.
in case you missed David Cage's poetic tweet
Oh boy.
on Twitter about not needing to own a PlayStation anymore to play
There you
Quantic games.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Anyone saw my tweet? I just love the absolute irony that there's a certain group of people that David Cage sexually took advantage of Ellen Page and took photos without her permission. Blah blah blah. Oh, that's fine. He's an artist. He did this really weird thing. No, it's fine. He's an artist. His studio has toxic culture, and they're doing like white supremacist and inappropriate humor. Oh, that's fine. They're artists. You don't need a PlayStation to play our games anymore. Look at this toxic man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is crazy to see that.
Sorry, go ahead, Alden.
No, it's just funny to see because this is one of the first times where I literally see the same people who defended him over awful things. And I like Quantic Dreams games, but I've never stood for David Cage or the company. But I've seen several people who very blatantly switched their stance as soon as he started talking bad about PlayStation.
Yeah, it's funny to me. And I wanted to acknowledge the irony on podcast because I'll probably clip this and tag a bunch of people who were salty about it. But so Quantic Dreams games are going to the Epic Game Store. This is also coming after the news that it was also announced at GDC that Epic Games is partnering with 2K to bring the Outer Worlds. Not partnering with 2K. 2K's private division, which it's important to specify the difference because 2K's private division is almost like their indie side of publishing things. Sam, please correct me if I'm wrong on this. They handle smaller.
Kind of. It's a new initiative. It's a new initiative for 2K to basically use some of their money on the side to help indie developers out.
So that makes a lot of sense because Obsidian was having money problems, so it understands why they'd sign on with private division prior to being acquired by Microsoft for the Outer Worlds for publishing and distribution purposes. So Control going across the Epic Game Store as well. So that's 5 games. They're going exclusively to the Epic Game Store for a year. It is important to note any game that is exclusively going to the Epic Game Store is a 1-year exclusivity, and you will be able to buy it on Steam a year from its release date.
It's good to see Epic doing some good with that Fortnite money they've been raking in.
Oh, yeah, like I just love seeing Tim Sweeney money hatting content after accusing Microsoft of being scum money hatting content.
Yeah. They've made billions of dollars. What are they going to do? Oh, we'll just, buy all the rights to these games for a year.
So I want to get a general consensus for this discussion topic in terms of thoughts on the Epic Games Store and how they're doing these things. Because we all know it's lacking some features to Steam, but in defense of the Epic Games Store, Steam didn't launch with all these features. It's had over a decade to build all these features. Also, in this day and age, should it have launched missing key features is an argument, of course. But what are your general thoughts? Is this money hatting exclusives on PC super important? Do you think it's bad? We'll start with Sam, because I'm curious.
I mean, what can I say? The Epic Store is giving devs a better cut. And so as a result, they are very willing to listen, especially when Epic is throwing around bags of money. All people have to do is download another launcher. I get that you have your preferences, but at the end of the day, this really is not that big of an issue. Not really. I have yet to see any compelling evidence that this is anything more than an inconvenience. It is definitely an inconvenience, but that's all it is. However, I will say Tim Sweeney is a massive hypocrite. And I find it absolutely hilarious that he is now doing exactly what he accused Microsoft of doing. Where meanwhile, Microsoft is all, hey, we're bringing Halo games to Steam. We're committed to an open platform. Xbox Live on Switch. And he's all, we're paying devs to bring games exclusively to the Epic Store. Like, there's a certain sense of irony.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, they have the right to do it. So,
For sure. Jared.
Well, I don't really have too many thoughts on it other than it's nice to see another competitor open up against Steam. Maybe it was a bad idea to not launch with some features in comparison that Steam has that Epic doesn't. In part for paying the exclusivity. Yeah, he's being a little bit of a hypocrite, I'm not going to lie. But at the same time, everybody does it. They need some way to get their foot in the door, so to speak. So they got to do it somehow, and this seems to be really the only way to do it. Even if it's strong arming kind of customers into only buying certain games for a year through just their store or one other store, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is what it is. I think people need to stop complaining because they've been used to just having basically Steam and for years and GOG for the most part, but now you got Epic coming in as a free launcher, so to speak, and just how can he be mad of having options to buy something else somewhere else, except for certain games? But it is what it is. It's PC gaming. I'm not really overly concerned because I have access to games anywhere I want on any platform because I own everything.
Yeah, for sure. Alden, any thoughts? I know you don't really mess with PC gaming, so this doesn't really necessarily affect you.
Yeah, no, I've bought a lot of games on Steam over the years, and then I just never play them. I have a pretty decent gaming PC, but I just never use it.
Yeah.
I don't know. To echo everyone's point, it is what it is. Like, it's just another launcher that you have to play. It does seem to me kind of like Epic is trying real quick to figure out what to do with all of their money. Like they made money hand over fist for the last year, and they're going, what should we do? I don't know. We'll make our own launcher and buy all of the games to put on it. So I hope that they're making sound business decisions for them, and that this helps their company going forward, because Epic was doing pretty poorly up until Fortnite launched and took over the world.
Yeah.
But shouldn't they be taking this money that they're making and using it to develop another great game? Develop a new Unreal Tournament, please, for the love of God. But it seems like they want to take I don't know if easy route is the right term, but they said, well, Steam's, Valve is making all this money on Steam, and they don't even have to release games anymore. Let's try that. And we'll see how it goes.
It's funny how much you nailed the like nailed the head on the nail right there. Like, because Valve is under constant criticism. Why don't you guys make games anymore? Why would they? They get 30% of every game they sell.
Yeah.
Why would they bother making anything? And I think Epic just wants to get into that position because for those that don't know, Epic sold like 46% of the company back in like 2013 to Tencent because they were going to go bankrupt.
Mm-hmm.
They ran that Tim Sweeney ran that company into the ground, burning all those bridges with Microsoft that made them all that money with Gears of War, and then burning through all the Gears of War money. Fortnite, prior to the Battle Royale, was their last saving grace. If that Battle Royale had never come out, we'd be talking RIP Epic Games.
Yeah.
I'm going to dive in a little because I understand the people that are like, it's just another launcher. Who cares? You already have BattleNet. You already have Uplay. You already have GOG. Yeah. What's another launcher besides just mildly inconvenient about having to come up with another tag that you have to send your friends? Like, it's mildly inconvenient. Problem is as previously stated, Tencent owns 46% of Epic Games. So Tencent is essentially behind this launcher. Tencent ran into some legality issues last year. There was a Battle Royale game. I'm not sure many people know. Well, many people that watch this show may not know about it, but it's called Rings of Elysium. And what they did is Tencent came in with this game. It was a Battle Royale game. It had like anyone who knows the Ubisoft game Steep. It has like you could snowboard, you can like parachute, you can whatever. And it's a Battle Royale game similar to PUBG, yada, yada, yada. They paid a bunch of streamers to stream it on Twitch and YouTube to get big promotion up. It was a free-to-play game. Bunch of people downloaded it. And then it came out about a week after it launched that there was a bunch of spy and data malware within the actual game that was stealing people's personal information and funneling it back to China. PC Gamer did a massive, and literally went through the whole code of the game, and literally all it was a data stealing software masked as a game. So people lost their bananas. All that stuff was pulled out of the game, not before who God knows how many people lost their private information.
Mm-hmm.
And no one knows the full scale of what private information was taken. That's scary. And the company that did that literally released a game just to take information from people is now behind a game launcher where you have to sign up with your email, you store credit card information. So if that's your reason for boycotting the Epic Games Store, I respect that. And then money had in games to try to force you into a situation where you feel like your private information isn't safe, that's shitty.
Yep.
The thing is 90% of the PC guys I know that are bitching about the Epic Games Store are bitching about it because they're massive Steam fanboys and they don't want to have to use another platform. That's why they're complaining. They don't even know. 3/4 of these guys, I guarantee, don't know the shady back history of what's going on. They're just mad because they can't use Steam.
Right. The people who do understand the history, that's another discussion altogether, and we can have a discussion.
And that is my point, is like, I understand the history. I understand why people are hesitant. I'm hesitant. I haven't installed it. I wanted to play that Hades game that they showed off when they like first launched the Epic Game Store, the free-to-play game that was in early access. I wanted to try that out, but I'm really reluctant to put that store on my computer. Now, you can make the argument if you have Facebook, you have social media, your information's not private, it's already sold. You can make that argument as well. Like, shout out to Kofi on Twitter. He said, how safe is your information when you've got a Twitter, Instagram, Facebook account? How safe is your information really? It's not.
No.
But when you consciously put your foot into an area where you know your information isn't safe, I respect that if you want to be careful about it. But if you've got like things like, I don't know, if you had Vine, if you had wherever the goddamn kids are using nowadays, I don't know what the app's called.
You really are the oldest 25-year-old on the planet.
He really is.
So bitter and old, I swear. Thing is that on the one hand, what Epic's doing is crappy and shitty. But on the same other hand, Steam is garbage. Okay, all these people that are standing for Steam, I hate using the term standing, but there's nothing else to describe it as, is pathetic. Steam has no game curation. There's literally mountains upon mountains of shovelware that gets uploaded to that site every day. There is no quality control. There is no forum or moderation control. There is no review control. And it's just terrible. Like, Steam is doing nothing. And they deserve every piece of criticism people give them. And if you don't think Valve is freaking selling your information either, you're fucking wrong too. This is what drives me nuts. If you think, oh, good guy Valve. No, it's still a company that makes money. These corporations aren't your friends. They're not, like, Valve isn't looking out for you. Like, they don't give a shit. If they gave a shit, they wouldn't let half the games they let onto the Steam store.
Yeah, like, there was that article last week about all of the games on Steam that glorify and almost, you know, they really do force you into sexual assault. Mm-hmm. And maybe now with rival competition, they'll start to take this shit seriously and look into what they're releasing so that these stories don't get out there and make people turn to an Epic Games Store or whatever.
Well, and you're literally giving Epic Games ammo because that game that was in the headlines 2.5 weeks ago. Steam's curators stopped that. The key point of this, and shout out to Jeffrey Grubb for talking about this in an article. That game that everyone was going, oh, how could Steam publish that? That was up for Steam review and they declined it. That game never launched on Steam. They declined it because it was offensive as hell. Okay? But the thing is that when you launch games like Hater or that school shooter simulator that launched for a week and a half, got backlash, got pulled off, you're giving people like Tim Sweeney ammo because Sweeney came out and said after that whole Rape Day or whatever the hell it was called game came out, he was like, we care about the curation of the Epic Games Store. We will only have the best quality titles on this. Don't give him that ammunition. It makes you guys look crappy if you can't keep shitty alt-right shovelware off your goddamn website. It looks terrible.
Yeah.
And Valve not wanting to make games, people want them to make games. No, we only care about Steam. Well, you're not doing anything with the platform. So fix your shit or else people are going to go elsewhere. And look at the results. Metro Exodus sold 2.5 times better on the Epic Games Store. So you know what that tells me? The casual consumer does not care about what launcher they use. They just care about playing the damn game. You know what they did is they went to boot up Steam, went, oh, Metro Exodus is on there. And then they go to the Metro webpage and it's like available on Epic Store. They click the install link. They installed the Epic Store. They bought Metro Exodus. Bada boom, bada bing. Because your casual consumer doesn't care. And these games will continue to go to the Epic Games Store because Epic Games has the money to keep buying these games. And Steam, I'm not saying Steam needs to go out there and money had exclusives, but they need to step their game up. They need to
I think that's all it comes down to is they need to step their game up. They'll be fine if they just take care of their house. It really does seem like lately, not even lately, it's coming to light lately where it seems like Steam has kind of just, it's almost like they started this program and now it just runs itself. And somebody somewhere was like, oh shit, were we supposed to be paying attention to this? We thought it just made it just printed money for us.
Because they're used to not having any competition. They're used to not even trying. And whatever your complaints about the Epic Store missing features, the fact that Steam actually has to compete now is an important thing. I hate monopolies. I hate them.
And it's also important to note, if you go onto the Epic Games site, they have something that's called the Epic Games Store Roadmap. And it's a list of basically goal points for things they want to add to the Epic Game Store. By the end of this year, they're going to have all the features of Steam. So what is Steam going to have left? Nothing.
They're going to have to find a way to stand out from Epic in a way to attract people to come back to them.
Look,
or to stay with Steam.
Epic doesn't have the sales Steam does. Steam has some of the best sales you can get on games. Like the Steam winter sale, summer sale, those sales are like scary. Okay, like
wallet draining sales.
Yeah, like I've picked up games that are like $70 for $3.
Yeah, exactly.
Like those sales are amazing. Caring about your storefront logistics and how it looks, block out the shovelware. Not every indie game deserves a platform. Your early access, when Steam's Greenlight program initially came out, giving developers early access options, it was amazing to give developers a foot in the door. But now it's just abused to hell. I never needed Soda Pop Simulator or anything else. Like it's curate your damn store. Have a standard. This is 2019. And too much garbage shows up on the Steam store. When I load up Steam, I look in new releases tab. I'm like, what is this garbage? What is 98% of this garbage? Most of it's shovelware that's like $20. And it's like, okay, I'm good. I'm good on this. The thing is that they just, if I will consider the Epic Store a win if Valve starts making games again. Because that will really show to me that Valve understands the trouble they're in. And this is only going to get worse for them. It's going to be something big in the PC market. It's going to go to Epic first, and it's going to just stir people nuts.
You know what Epic should do now to really show their hand is pay whatever money it costs to produce Half-Life 3.
I mean, yeah, actually make games. I mean, Half-Life 3 still might be pie in the sky, but Portal 3, Left 4 Dead 3, like, make some actual games. Stand out again. And to be clear here, Epic isn't just going to be able to buy games forever. Eventually, they're going to have to do some other stuff, too.
Absolutely.
In order to, actually stand out. But that's how this works.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure Valve is just holding on to Half-Life 3 going, you know what? When Steam finally starts to fall, we'll play our one card, Half-Life 3.
You're way
people
too
are going to
optimistic.
come buy our game. It's going to sell 12 million
you
on
are
launch.
No.
Gabe Newell did an interview in 2011 and guaranteed personally that Half-Life 3 would come out in the next 5 years. 2011. It is now 2019. Half-Life 3 is
years later.
Half-Life 3 is not happening. Portal 3 is not happening. Left 4 Dead 3, the team that literally made the game, is making their own spin-off of Left 4 Dead because Valve doesn't want to make Left 4 Dead 3.
Yeah, no kidding me.
Okay, Valve doesn't give a crap about developing games. They need the competition. Someone needs to kick Valve Steam in the ass and get them thinking about what made them great in the first place. And I hate all these people that were like, oh, well, GOG's competition. No, it wasn't. GOG is a nice DRM free where you can buy games that are a couple years old at decent prices.
Yeah, exactly. It's a good place for picking up much, much older games like, oh, here's Wasteland, or here's the original Fallout, or, here's Stalker Call of Pripyat, like that sort of thing.
I'm actually pretty sure Vampire, the Masquerade, would probably be a good pickup on GOG. I'm pretty sure that
it's actually $5 on there right now. I'm looking at it.
There you go.
See, GOG has its place, but it's not competing in the same field that Steam is. There's nothing that competes with Steam. And the fact that Epic Games basically kicked in the door with a belt in hand and was like, it's time for a whipping.
That's a funny mental picture.
I just have that image of Homer where he's standing in the door with the belt, except it's the Epic Game Store logo on his head, and Steam's Bart looking terrified. Shout out to anyone that photoshops that and tags me in it. But regardless, competition is great. I don't agree with how Epic's competing, and I understand people's moral dilemmas with the Epic Tencent partnership. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. And I really have to say this to those people that I see in the comment section of, oh, well, if this game goes to the Epic Games Store, I'm just going to pirate it. Fuck you into eternity. As someone who played PC games in the early 2000s into the late 2000s, the whole mantra of all that PC gamers do is pirate video games is something legitimate people have fought against for so long. Like there was developers that wouldn't put games on PC because they're like, well, they're just going to pirate it anyway. Why would we do that? Don't start pirating games. You're only hurting us, the entire ecosystem. Piracy benefits no one other than your own selfish, vindictive thought pattern.
Yeah, and you really explained it well there. Is the people that say this do it as like I'm going to take a stand and I'm going to pirate. No, you're not. You're not taking a stand. You want to play a game and you want an excuse to do it for free.
Yep.
Yeah, like there's no taking a stand. Taking a stand is like being vocal about it, making a video about it, speaking out in some way. That's being vocal about something. Stealing something that you didn't pay for is just theft. It's not bold. It's not. It's the same thing I say when you see riots around the world and there's people that are like fighting for their lives and everything else, and then you see some asshole running out of the store with a 42-inch TV. Those are the same dudes that pirate video games.
Yeah.
Because they just want to jump in on the chaos to be like, oh, well, this is the reason I pirate video games. I guarantee you, if Epic wasn't around, they'd be still bragging about pirating games.
Mm-hmm.
It's terrible. And don't do that. Oh, good Lord, Diego. I'm not reading that.
Good plan.
Reading that out loud tonight.
Moving on.
So that's it for the show. We actually did have a question.
Okay.
Everybody gets one.
We're not doing Sam's hair care products. I'm sorry, Dan. He doesn't use any apparently, and I don't. But Dan also wanted to know. He said, "Is Sekiro any more accessible than the Dark Souls games for an old fart such as myself? I really want to play it, but I don't enjoy burning money." Dan, you bought Fallout 76. You do enjoy burning money.
Here's the thing. Sekiro is more accessible, and it isn't. Yes. It's not cryptic. It is very straightforward, very simple, easy to understand plot. The tutorial is laid out to you very simple. Like, you know how in Dark Souls you have to read the orange soapstone marks to get hints of how the controls work, and God help you if you don't read even those. Here, it's like, no, it's a full, proper tutorial. But at the same time, I'm warning you, it's more difficult. I don't think that's up for debate. Am I wrong, guys? Like, it is definitely a more difficult game.
It's definitely difficult in its own specific way, and the way they've done it and the way the playstyle is for the game does make it more difficult than the Dark Souls or their other From Software games. It is interesting, but it's not impossible. It's definitely still achievable and still feasible. It's still just as satisfying as the other From Software games, if not maybe a little bit more. If you really just get used to the controls, if you work that practice dummy in the hub there, if you just really kind of pay attention to the controls and utilize what the tools that you're given, you'll be okay.
The way you guys describe From Software games makes me think that I need to have like the Rocky theme playing in the background while I get better at these games.
Yeah, actually. No, that would work quite well, honestly. I should try that tomorrow as I'm grinding some enemies with
to answer Dan's question, I feel, no offense to Sam and Jared, since I'm not a From Software fan, I feel like I might be able to give him a little bit of insight. This is closer to an action game than any other previous From Software game. And what I mean by that is that it focuses on blocking and attacking. It's not necessarily movement and motion isn't as important. And if you can parry, that's like 90% of your battle because parry timing is very important.
Yep. 100% true.
But parrying in this is also a little bit easier than Bloodborne. I caught on to the parrying a lot faster in this than I did in Bloodborne. Bloodborne was very specific on timing. This has a little bit more of a wiggle room. The game is hard. There's no denying it's hard. But I feel like this is one of the games where it ramps up the difficulty very slowly. It doesn't just stomp you out the gate. No. As I say this after I've been like the people's elbow like 50 million times.
It's just, you got to be careful of new enemy types. That's all. You see a new enemy type, just be wary. Learn their attack pattern first. Go in if you have to. Die once trying to fight them. Do so, because with Sekiro, there's not too much of there's a little bit of a penalty, but it's not too severe as it is in in Bloodborne and Dark Souls. But the quicker you learn your new enemy attacks and new enemies, the better off you'll be.
Yeah. And the number one rule for this game, I'm not sure if it rings true for Dark Souls and Bloodborne because I haven't played them extensively, is don't get greedy. The biggest mistake you'll ever be is, I can get that one next swing in and I'll be okay. No, you can't.
No, you won't. You can't get that last hit in. Don't get greedy.
That is a rule.
The number one rule to me from Software games, because you're like, I could get that extra little bit. No, just do another 3 tank rolls and get
There is a certain, when you play the games and when you beat them, you realize there's a certain set of rules, unspoken rules that you kind of have to follow with these games in order to survive. Because if you don't, you're going to have one hell of a time.
Yeah, for sure. Like me with this giant thinking I can get 3 hits in on his back before he drops another elbow on my skull.
I spent, honestly, the last half of his last life bar, I spent probably about 10 minutes just diving in, doing a single hit and diving back out just to make sure I could try and get the kill. Even then, I used up almost all my healing items and gourds and was barely alive at the end.
As we wrap up, the thing that killed me with this game was like, oh, when you die, it affects the NPCs around you. I'm like, okay. So I go up to this woman that I talked to before. She's laying on the ground and like coughing blood. I'm like, oh my God, as I get more terrible at this game, this poor woman's going to suffer more. I know she's like probably missing 2 legs and half an arm by now at the rate of my deaths. Terrible. And it's like after a certain amount of deaths, it's like you have a new status effect. I'm like, oh no, what does this do?
Hey, I died a couple of times and I had 3 or 4 different people be affected by that disease at the same time. I was like, no, I don't know where you all are. I have to go cure you all now. Crap.
No, you know what's gonna happen to me is I'm not gonna be able to beat this game because all the NPCs will have died from me getting people's elbowed in a staircase.
Oh, great. That'll be great.
Fuck those people. So this has been the Gaming Perspective podcast. I want to be really proud. I've kind of gone unfiltered the past 2 episodes with the swearing and whatnot, and we're still monetized. So
yeah.
Yay.
Google
don't push it.
Apparently not listened to my podcast yet.
Well, not until you dunked on Stadia. Now it's over.
$50 and I'll talk about Stadia for 5 minutes in a positive way.
No one's paying that, you know that.
No one wants to hear me go. Like literally, it would just be me imitating Alden doing a monster truck announcement of
Stadia.
They should just hire Bra to do the marketing. It would be so much better. Do you even Stadia, bro?
Hey, y'all play that Stadia?
Yeah, no, that doesn't even work. Oh, well.
Ouya?
Ouya. hey, on the day that Stadia was revealed, someone on my local buy and sell on Facebook was selling an Ouya for $60, and I almost bought it just to be like, I have a
no. Just because
actually goes back to a joke me and Anchorman used to have, because when you remember back at the start of PS4 and Xbox One, everyone was putting like influencer in their tag on Twitter if they got to see the reveal event live. And Ivan, for about a year, had Ouya influencer in his Twitter bio. and that myth will forever live on as an Ouya influencer. So yeah, Gaming Perspective Podcast, episode 40. We're officially middle-aged.
Wow.
Which is crazy. It's crazy to me this podcast is over a year old. It's insane. Shout out to Eric Jackson. I hope things smooth over for you soon, and I hope you can rejoin us again very soon. Eric's been having a hell of a couple of weeks, and I really hope that things work out for you if you listen to this. And yeah, just wishing him all the best from everybody here, of course. So we will do our outros. Sam, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Samuel Tolbert. That's Tolbert. You can find everything I write on tickgamesnetwork.com. In addition to the news, I have a couple of opinion pieces about some interesting stuff coming up and some how-tos, guides, and videos on Sekiro that I'm going to be working on with you. We have Days of Joy ahead of us. That's going to be a lot of fun to work on.
Yeah, so how Sekiro content's going to work is I'm going to get stuck at a part. Sam's going to figure out how to beat it. He's going to tell me how to beat it, and I make the video and be like, hey, this is the golden formula to beat this boss. And then I'm good at video games. But no, it's going to be a good time. The Sekiro guides are going to be helpful for you guys that are struggling. Like I was sitting there going, I literally put like a screenshot at like 10 o'clock this morning. I was like, if this ogre fucking people's elbows me one more time, I'm gonna
yeah, I saw that. I had a good
like, oh, have you tried hitting him with the fire? I'm like, what fire? Like, what fire barrel? He's like, in this location. I'm like, where the hell is that? And he's like, don't worry, I'll show you. I'm like, oh my god. So, as it's been stressed to me, if you're playing Sekiro, explore everywhere because apparently the useful stuff is hidden.
It is.
So, Jared, where can people find you?
Well, people can find me on Twitter at RageVirus_X or as well at TickGamesNetwork.com. And that's about it.
Right on. And Alden, plug your channel, your show.
So much. There's so much. How do I even have time for all this stuff?
Unshameful plug.
Yeah, Third Wheel Arcade every week, usually Thursday or Friday on YouTube. Thursday for the next month or two. Nick's on there sometimes, and it's fantastic when Dan's not ducking him. I do the PlayStation broadcast. I just recently started writing some things for the PlayStationBras.com, and I'm really enjoying that more than I expected to. I've done 2 reviews so far, but Bra wants me to work on some more things, and I'm down to try it. And my podcast with my fiance, Boy Meets Girl Meets Boy Meets World, where we just watch Boy Meets World episodes and joke about them for an hour.
Nice.
You need to send me a
That's
link to that
awesome.
because I love Boy Meets World, and I like you, and your fiance has been nothing but nice to me on Twitter, so I suspect she's plotting to kill me.
I'll send you a link. Yeah, we're on all audio services. So.
Oh, thank you. I love audio services. I say as my podcast is only available on YouTube. But no, seriously, check out Alden. His stuff for the PlayStationBras.com has been fantastic. And
thank you.
As I always say, I don't often plug people outside of my own website, but if you're looking for some really decent news websites, Season Gaming, PlayStation Broadcast, all fantastic places to get your news from.
Yeah.
And I really love all the guys that work on all those sites because there's a lot of passion and a lot of love that goes into video games as a whole with those guys. And I just genuinely love all those guys. And the people I've been introduced to through doing Third Wheel Arcade with you has been absolutely fantastic. And I'm really, really happy that you gave me the opportunity for that.
No, you're more than welcome. You're fantastic. You're better than I am on the show. The group of people that are involved in that, I'm so lucky to be doing it. Like you said, there's so much passion in these guys on these websites. It's all just like you guys in your websites. It's all people who don't have time to be doing these things, but love gaming so much that they just want to talk about it and want to create content. And that's a good thing That's a good place to be in, as opposed to people who don't feel like doing this stuff and are just like, well, here's me shitting on a game for an hour.
Yeah, I totally agree. So this has been episode 40. Thank you to all of you guys that stopped by and check this out. Shout out to you guys to check us out next couple of days. We are changing formats coming up very soon. Not next episode, but there will be an announcement when the last live episode will go. And there'll be some polls coming up in regards to what day you guys want it to release, as well as some channel changes. I haven't been well the past little while. I haven't been all there in terms of being able to get content out and everything else. And I won't go into details and whatnot, but I will be making a return to doing YouTube content this week. You will see more stuff from me on the Tick Games Network site. I'll be getting back into my motions again. It's been a rough couple of weeks. Been a lot of stuff going on, but I will be back in full capacity, and I'm looking forward to interacting and talking with you guys. Again, I enjoyed this podcast panel, and this is a very high point of my Saturday night, other than spending time with my wife.
Thank you.
That is...
Aw.
Go, Angelique. Well done. Well done.
That's why it's up to me doing like 2 to 3 podcasts a week, as well as meeting with Sam, as well as putting up with me writing articles and hogging the computer. And yeah, I know you got a laptop now, so I don't matter. But shout out to all you guys. I'm in a super lovey-dovey mood. I enjoy everybody. Shout out to everyone watching this show, has followed me and subscribed. We are 127 subscribers strong because we lost 6 because apparently I said something really off color a couple episodes ago. And people informed me that they weren't interested in following me anymore. So kudos to them. So this has been Gaming Perspective episode 40. Sekiro, I died more than twice. You will not find this on iTunes. Have a great night.